Welcome to this LMN Introduction for Budgeting. Well, like anything worthwhile, it is going to take a few hours of setup to get yourself up and running. But trust us and trust the thousands of contractors who've done this before you when we tell you it's going to be worth every minute. It will take you a bit to set it up, but what you're setting up now is a system that's going to start to be able to run itself, saving you hundreds of hours a year, allowing your company to grow, and helping you teach other people to do what you do now so that you'll be able to do bigger and more important things as your business grows. So get ready to stick with us. We'll try and keep it as simple as possible. Let's start now with your budgeting introduction and preparation. Your first question might be, what do I need to prepare to build my budget? And it's pretty simple. Start with a company profit and loss statement. Grab one for a complete year. If you have half a year because you're in the middle of a year, it's okay to grab that too, but make sure you at least have one full year's profit and loss statement. These are very easy to print out of your accounting. Just take a few seconds. Next up, a payroll summary report. This will certainly be helpful. You don't necessarily need this if you can take a good guess, but if you can print off a list of your employees from last year and how many hours they worked and what their wages are, and especially how many overtime hours they worked, that will be helpful. Then finally, and again, this is optional, if you have a list or at least a count of your different types of equipment, that'll be beneficial as well. We'll want to make sure that you're recouping the cost to recover the cost of your pickup trucks and lawnmowers and skid steers and any other big pieces of equipment you have. So it'd be nice to have a count of that. You don't need to do anything less than, say, $5,000, but make sure you have good counts of the stuff bigger than that. Now, what's in a budget and why are we building this? Well, first of all, it's going to help us set profitable goals, good goals for sales and spending goals for all our expenses. But what's really important is that it's going to help tell you what your overhead is. And it's going to feed estimating with the numbers it needs to make sure you're going to recover your overhead. So how do we make this happen? It's really important that you set your budget up in a specific way. And it might be a little different than how your accountant has set it up. Stick with us. This is going to be really important. A budget's got four main components. Sales, that's money coming into your business. That's like your revenue. Job costs. These are expenses that go out for job-specific related expenses. Things like the wages for the crews in the field, your equipment that works in the field, materials that you install on jobs. All these things are job-related costs. Then you've got your overhead costs. These are costs required to operate the company. Things like your cell phone bill, your advertising expenses, your rent, your utilities. Things that aren't specific to any one job, but you need these expenses to run your company. And then finally, net profit. And that's the money you've got left over. So these are the four main parts, and these are basically the things you're going to put in your budget in LMN. One very important piece, though. What's job costs and what's an overhead cost? And it does matter. Your accountant may have set things up a certain way based on how they were trained or what's important for them for taxes. But there's only one real important rule you need to remember when you're setting this up. And we're going to remind you as you go through the budget, but we're going to get this out of the way up front. Your job costs are costs that you estimate. Your overhead costs are costs that you don't estimate. And it's as simple as that, black and white. No matter who's told you anything else, this is sort of how it has to work. Why does it have to work this way? Pretty simple. You've only got two ways to recover a cost when you make an estimate for a client. That cost is either something that's counted in the estimate, like yards of gravel or number of plants, or it's something that you don't count in the estimate, but you hope that the prices or the markups you charge are going to recover, like your advertising that in your cell phone. You're not going to put advertising charges or cell phone charges in your estimate, but you hope that the prices you charge are enough to cover those costs. So all LMN's going to do is get rid of that hope, and we're going to make sure it does it for real. But to make sure that happens, we have to make sure that this rule is followed. As we go through your budget, job costs, or the job cost budgets like field labor, equipment, materials, and subcontractors, these are the costs that you estimate. Anything you don't estimate, any expense, has to go in your overhead costs, and that's how LMN's going to make sure it's recovered. Now again, we'll remind you as we go through the different budgets of that rule, but we'll get that out of the way up front because it's the most important thing you're going to need to remember when you're building your budget. Now, get ready to stick with us through the rest of the videos. There'll be one video for each section of the budget to keep things nice, short, and simple for you. But if you've got any questions about anything so far, and if you have anything going forward, you've got a bunch of ways to get in contact with us. You can hit us up on live chat. That's right in the application in the top header. You could also go to golmn.com/help. That'll take you to our help center where all these videos and a whole lot of frequently asked questions are there. So if something's not covered in the video quite perfectly for you, hit up that first. Chances are the question that you're asking yourself is already documented there and you'll find an answer easily. And if those two things fail you, by all means, hit us up on email at advice@golmn.com. It's free, and we're happy to help you get your budget or anything else up and running. So make sure you use it. Thanks, and we'll see you in the rest of the videos.